Hello everyone and welcome to the channel, and finally the wait is over. Material 3 Expressive is officially available along with September 2025 Pixel drop, and I will demonstrate all the new features of this QPR1 update on the Pixel 10 Pro XL. So without further ado, let's jump in. Starting with the update size and the build number, there is something interesting here. The build number on the Pixel 10 devices is different from older ones. So for example, here on my 10 Pro XL, it's PD3A.250.721.001.B7. But when you take a look here on Google's website, you will see that the build number of the previous Pixel models is PP3A.250.905.014. And the update size on the 10 Pro XL is also very small. It's only 73.09 megabytes. Unfortunately, Google didn't push the OTA update to my older Pixel models to show you the size. So let's put it aside for now and let's talk about the new changes. So let's start with the lock screen and always on display as usual. On the left, I have the 9 Pro XL running August patch, and on the right, I have the 10 Pro XL running the latest update. And the first thing you will notice here is the new layout for the lock screen. The date and weather are now showing in two lines next to the clock instead of showing on the same line under the clock. Plus, when you swipe up to access the unlocking keypad, you will see a totally different design. And instead of using a solid background, now we have a blurred background matching my wallpaper colors. The buttons are using a bolder font, and also the emergency button is slightly bigger. Other than this, both are exactly the same. And here is how it looks with the Do Not Disturb activated. If you don't have any notifications on your lock screen, and instead of having the date and weather at the top left corner, now they show under the clock, which makes more sense. Moving to the notifications, they got a brand new design with bigger app icons, bigger banners, and also new animations. But I will talk about this in detail in the Notification Center chapter. But now I will only focus on the lock screen features. With that said, now when you go to your settings and then notifications, you will see a brand new menu that we didn't have before called Notifications on Lock Screen, which will allow you to do multiple things. First, this page consolidates all the settings that we used to have in those two items in one page. Previously, for example, if you want to turn off your notifications, you need to use radio buttons, while now you have a toggle to turn the feature on or off. The sensitive notifications toggle is the same, while the hide silent conversations and notifications is now a toggle. On top of this, we got two new changes in this page. The first one is the ability to use the compact view, and this one will make your notifications appear as a pill on the lock screen, showing only the app icons instead of having the full banners like before. The second change is the ability to choose if you want to show the viewed notifications on your lock screen or not. So for example, if you have this feature turned off and then you pull down the notification shade, once you check the notifications, they will no longer appear on your lock screen as you see here. But if I have it on, even when I view the notifications, they will still show up on my lock screen, and this feature we didn't have before. Back to the lock screen itself, and there is a new animation and haptic feedback for the lock screen shortcuts. Previously, tapping on it once like this used to give you a very fast animation and haptic feedback, while now it's a lot slower and the haptic feedback is heavier. Plus, all the icons that used to be outlined are now using a fill color, and here's the difference between the two. But we are still scratching the surface here because there are a lot more to talk about when you try to customize your lock screen. First, we got this revamped wallpaper and the style app with a back button at the top left corner that has a fill color around it. Now you can also switch between your lock and the home screen settings with a simple swipe instead of using the taps at the top. Then we got this new suggested photos carousel that has a really nice animation when you scroll through it. It will suggest some of the photos from your gallery to be used as your lock screen wallpaper instead of only showing the most recent 5 wallpapers like before. Changing the clock, design, color, and size are all gone from this page, and now everything related to the clock is consolidated under one menu, which I'm going to show you in a minute. You will notice here that also when I scroll down, the previews at the top become smaller and the suggested photos changes into a wallpapers button, while previously when you scroll down it simply hides the preview. Then we have the color palettes over here, which are no longer showing under the lock screen, but you can locate them under the home screen settings. The show notifications on the lock screen toggle is now gone and replaced with the same notifications on lock screen menu I showed you earlier. And then we have more lock screen settings, same as before. Now let's go back to the top to show you even more. So let's say you want to change your wallpaper. So let's go to more wallpapers on both. You will see here we have a brand new section called Wallpaper Studio that consolidates the AI wallpaper and emoji workshop, in addition to a new feature called Live Effects, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. Also keep in mind that the emoji workshop got a brand new design as you see here, but both work pretty much the same way. The My Photos section is now gone and replaced with a button called More Photos, and we still have the same suggested photos carousel we've seen in the previous page, and anything else falls under a new category called Collections. And now let me show you the new Live Effects feature. When you tap on it, it will take you to your gallery so you can pick one of the photos. So let me pick this example. It will automatically cut or separate the subject from the photo and draw a shape around it, which you can change by choosing between 5 different options. And then it will also create a solid background color around this shape that you can also change. And these colors are picked automatically from the wallpaper. Then you can adjust the contrast. And we still have other options that I'm going to talk about later. But let's say you are happy with this shape. So let's tap on the tick button. And as you see, it will show you a preview on how your lock screen will look like. And for reference, here is how the old preview page looks. We no longer have the lock screen and the home screen tabs, but you can simply swipe between them like this. Now we have the effects option that will take you back to the same page I already showed you. And the 3D cinematic wallpaper option is now a separate tab here in this new design. And instead of having a button called Set Wallpaper, it's now called Next. And as you see, we are getting a much better design for the Apply Wallpaper page. So let me apply the wallpaper and show you how this shape feature works. As you see, I have the same exact design. And when I unlock the phone, let me go back to the home screen first. When I unlock the phone, as you see, it animates nicely, transitioning between the lock screen and the home screen in this gorgeous animation. Back to the effects page, and this time we're going to talk about the second tab, which is called weather. And by the way, you cannot apply 2 effects at the same time. So for example, you cannot choose a shape and also apply the weather effects. You can either choose this or that. Under weather, we have 5 different options to choose from. The first one is called local, which will apply some weather effects on your wallpaper based on your current weather conditions, which is automatically picked from the weather app, or you can force any of these animations if you want. The first one is called fog, and this is how it looks. You can also adjust the intensity. Then we have rain, which will draw some interactive raindrops on the screen. And then we have snow, which is also interactive. And finally, we have sun. Now let me show you how each one looks on the lock screen. Starting with the fog as an example, once I tap the screen, it will apply the effect for a few seconds and then it fades away. And when you unlock your phone halfway through, like this, the animation gets carried over to the home screen before fading away. And now let me show you the rest of the options. This is the rain effect. Here's the snow. And finally, the sun. And the last option we have under effects is called cinematic, which is the same exact feature that we used to have before, but it got its own tab under this page instead of having a button like before. And once you go to this tab, it will automatically apply the effect for you. And this is how it looks. It works exactly the same way. So that's it when it comes to customizing the wallpaper. Now let's talk about the new changes under the clock. We get the same exact clock faces as before, but instead of having 9 different options like before, now we only have 8 because Google consolidated this one and this one under the same clock face, which you can see it over here. with a separator between this one and the rest of the options, because when you tap on it, this is the only one that will give you a slider to adjust the clock face width, and this is what happens when you move the slider to the right and to the left. Then you get the same exact clock color and size options, but with a brand new design that looks better and makes it easier to navigate. And the last change I'm going to show you in this area is the redesigned shortcuts menu. Now you can see all the shortcuts right away without the need to scroll like before. The left and right shortcut tabs are now located at the bottom for easier navigation. And as you see, the icons are slightly different. And when you change any of the shortcuts, the icon in the tab will also get updated as you see here. By the way, if you like any of the wallpapers you see in this video, you can find them in the Wallpapers by In-Depth Tech Reviews app. Plus, you have the ability to download these wallpapers locally on device, so you can enjoy the new live effects of Android 16. And by the way, you can also edit your wallpaper in the built-in editor before downloading, and this will allow you to download the original one or the edited version, then apply whatever effects on your lock screen. I will leave the download link in the description, and now let's get back to the new features. So that's it with the lock screen. Now let's talk about the home screen, and the first thing you will notice here is the smaller at a glance widget. It's using a bolder font, and the pagination dots got redesigned as well. Not only this, but there is less spacing between the items on your home screen. There is less spacing between the widgets and also the app icons. And here's a quick example to show you a big difference between the two. As you see here, the spacing is much smaller, which will allow you to add an extra row of apps that didn't exist before on your home screen, which is a really nice touch. Another change is the new haptic feedback you get when you move apps and widgets on your home screen. Every step you move will give you a haptic feedback that didn't exist before. And when it comes to the styling, Google is heavily using the blur effect to give you a more pleasing look in Material 3 Expressive. So let me show you how it looks. When you swipe down to access the notifications shade, as you see, it blurs the home screen instead of showing a white background. And the same applies to the quick settings, the notifications shade, the recent apps screen, the app drawer, and also when you access the widgets from the app shortcuts menu. Google search widget also got redesigned, and here's how it looks. The icons in the shortcuts menu also got updated, and when you go to the recent apps screen, you see that those two buttons are now surrounded with containers. The app menu at the top got redesigned. Instead of using the app icon, it's now a pill showing at the top left corner of the app preview. And when you tap on it, it will expand. And as you see, it's a lot smaller than the previous one. In the recent apps screen, we also got a brand new animation that looks really nice. For example, when you half swipe any of the apps, you see a lot of bounce happening over here to make you feel that you are dealing with a real object. With a brand new screenshot animation as well that looks really nice. The split screen also got a couple of new changes. The first one is the new haptic feedback you get when you resize the two windows. It gives you around 5 different haptics, as if you are moving between 5 different steps. Not only this, but we also got the new 80-20 ratio. So for example, you can make one of these apps smaller and quickly switch between the two like this. Moving to the app drawer, you will see a massive difference between the two in how it expands. Instead of showing the keyboard first, you will see the app drawer first, and then the keyboard starts to show up. And when you fully expand the app drawer, it no longer covers the entire screen, but it will give you a space between the status bar and the app drawer with a handle to let you know that you can swipe down to dismiss, which wasn't the case before. Also, you'll notice here, because of this change, the status bar icons no longer switch between white and black, but they will always remain in the same color, which is a nice touch. And now let's talk about the new changes under the Wallpaper and the Style app when it comes to the home screen. We got the same design changes as the lock screen, which is already covered. And when it comes to the colors, they are no longer showing here, but it's a separate menu right now. And the reason I'm using the same wallpaper on both phones is to show you how the colors are different now. As you see in the newer version, they are more vibrant in comparison. Plus, we have here the other colors tab located at the bottom. And also when you activate dark theme on the newer version, as you see, it animates smoothly, while previously it was an immediate change. You will also notice here that any change I make requires tapping the apply button at the top right corner, which wasn't the case before. Any change you make on the previous version is immediately applied, while now when you make a change and try to quit, it will give you a dialog box to discard or keep editing. And by the way, this also applies to the lock screen, which is something I missed to mention. Let's continue with the rest of the menus. Then we have the themed icons, which is now called icons. When you go inside, you will find the toggle. And then we have color contrast, which is exactly the same on both. No difference other than the Material 3 redesign. And then we have the app grid, which is now called layout. And when you go inside, instead of having the grid numbers, now we have names. We have small, medium, large, and X large. So that's it with the home screen. Now let's talk about the notifications shade and the quick settings. And as I mentioned before, both are using a blurred background, which reflects the colors of your wallpaper, and that makes it look really, really nice. Starting with the notifications shade, here you will see a lot of new animations. When you expand and collapse any of the items, as you see, they bounce and feel connected together, unlike before. And also when you try to dismiss any of the notifications, they feel like one object and you are slicing a piece out of it. Plus, it gives you a really nice haptic feedback when you do this, while previously we didn't have any haptic feedback in this area. Plus, the app icons are now so much bigger and the text is slightly easier to read. And when you take a look here at how the notifications are grouped together, it makes a lot more sense now on the newer version. So when you take a look here, you'll see some random apps grouped together under the same container. I have the clock, X, my Pixel app, and so on. While here things are separated. I have a text message, the stuff related to Telegram grouped together, and then I have the clock separated, and so on. So it makes a lot more sense now when it comes to grouping the notifications. And when you tap and hold on any of the notifications, you will see a redesigned menu. Both have the exact same options, but the newer one looks so much better. We also got a slight change in how the notifications pop on the screen. Previously, when you get a notification, the status bar icons at the top left corner disappear to show the full app name and then get back to normal, while currently this doesn't happen. And when you scroll all the way down, you will see redesigned buttons. The clear all button is now centered and wider. The history button is no longer using text, only an icon. Plus we got this new button that takes you right away to the notifications settings. And when it comes to the notifications history, it got a slight change in the design and font. So that's it with the notifications shade. Now let's talk about the quick settings. Starting with the status bar, you will see a bigger margin at the top and the bottom. All the icons are now different. Plus the battery icon is now horizontal and the percentage is showing inside. Let me also show you how it animates when I charge the phone. So once I plug the charger to the Pixel 10 Pro XL, it will animate the battery icon, plus it will turn into green. While previously, when you charge the phone, it gives you a totally different animation and the battery icon remains white. And when you turn on the battery saver mode, the whole icon turns into orange with a plus sign next to it, while previously the orange color was barely noticeable and there is no plus sign. And when I expand the quick settings, you will see a bigger margin here as well. Enough with the status bar, and let's talk about the quick settings that got a complete revamp. First, we got a redesigned brightness slider. All the icons used in the tiles are so much bigger and the text is bolder, so things are a lot easier to read. Then we have redesigned pagination dots, bigger edit button, while the three buttons at the bottom right corner are now smaller. Another big change here is the ability to resize your tiles. You can choose between 1x1 or 2x1, which I'm going to show you how in a minute. But first, let me show you how each size responds to your touches. Let's take the Bluetooth tile as an example. When you tap on the text, it will expand the Bluetooth window, but when you tap on the icon, it will toggle the feature on or off. And as you see here, the tile shape is different. When it's on, it's a rounded rectangle, but when it's off, it's an oval shape. And when it comes to the smaller ones, they will always act as toggles with a new animation as well, as you see here. And if the tile is smaller, it will show you its name at the bottom left corner because it doesn't have any text to let you know what it does exactly, unlike the Bluetooth one that doesn't do the same thing because it's bigger and you can immediately see its name. But the only exception here is the internet tile. No matter which size you choose, it will always expand the internet window, and it doesn't have a toggle to turn the Wi-Fi on or off like the Bluetooth one. And now let me show you how you can edit your quick settings area. Here you can do multiple things. When you tap on any of the tiles, it will show you a handle at the end that will allow you to change the size, and the minus sign at the top right corner will allow you to remove any of them. Plus we have an undo button over here that will allow you to revert all the steps. And then if you want to reorder things, as you see, it will show you a shade to let you know where the tile will exactly land. Then when you scroll down, you will see all the available tiles categorized, which will make it a lot easier for you to locate the one you are looking for. And when you go at the very end, you will see here a reset button that will allow you to revert everything back to the default settings, but it will give you a warning first. And the last thing to talk about here is the media controls. The first thing you will notice is the text is now left aligned regardless the language. Either it's right to left or left to right. Then we have an oval shape play button that turns into a rounded rectangle, and the media controls got updated as well. Here we have a smaller volume slider. We have the connect device button at the top, which makes it easier to reach, and the available devices are now a lot smaller. And here's how both look when I start casting to my smart speakers. You will see that the stop casting button is now next to done, and the plus button is a lot smaller as well. So that's it when it comes to the quick settings and notifications shade. And now let's compare the volume controls. The first thing you will notice here is the taller volume slider. It has the same bar we have in the brightness slider, which will give you a better idea about where exactly is your volume level. Then we have different icons, and the unselected ones are now surrounded with rounded squares, unlike before. And now let's move on to the actual sliders to see more differences. This page also got the redesigned sliders, and also when you push the volume all the way to the right, as you see, the icon moves inside, and all the icons are now located on the right side instead of the left. Plus here we have the names written on top of the sliders, not inside, which made the overflow menu taller. And we also have a smaller live caption and spatial audio buttons. And when you play media and then open the volume controls, you will see this animated waveform. Now let me show you some random tweaks here and there before jumping to the new changes under settings. And I will start with Gemini, as it got 2 new changes. The first one is the new trigger animation. As you see, it squeezes the screen before showing the bar at the bottom. The second change is related to Gemini Live. When you start a session and then quit, you see a chip here at the top left corner. Tapping on it will allow you to do some actions like continue or hang up, and with every tap you get a really nice haptic feedback. The third change is the new Google Wallet animation when you trigger it using the power button. So take a look here, it will automatically open the default card, and as you see, it looks so much better now instead of opening the app like before. And if you still want to open Google Wallet, you will see a quick shortcut here at the bottom that will take you to the app. But I do really like this new animation. We also got an updated design for the permissions pop-up. So for example, when the app requests a permission, we got this redesigned overlay card. So let me show you how it looks side by side with the previous one. Another change is the power menu now supports light theme, while on the previous version, even though my phone is in light theme, when I access it, it's still in dark theme. And for some reason, the home bar at the bottom or the home indicator is raised a little bit when compared to the Pixel 9 Pro XL. So I'm not sure if this change is related to QPR1 or not. And lastly, Google updated some of the system sounds. So let's take a listen. And now let's talk about all the new changes under settings. Starting with the search, you will see this new material U shape, and when you try to search for anything, all the items are now wrapped in containers to support the Material 3 Expressive Design language. Also, the toggles are now different. As you see here, when the toggle is on, you will see a tick sign inside, and it turns into an X when you turn off the feature. Back to the main page, and you will notice here that the items are now thinner, which will allow you to see more on the screen without scrolling. When you look at the last item, you can see it fully, which is not the case on the previous version. Plus, all the icons are now wrapped in circles with new colors. And when you open any page, the header is pushed to the top by default, and this is how you can bring it down. If any of the menus include a sub-menu, you see now this new arrow, and there is a container around the back arrow at the top left corner. So enough with the visual changes, and now let's talk about the functional ones. The first change is under Network and the Internet. Now we have a new menu called Mobile Network Security that includes two toggles. The first one is called Network Notification, which says get notified when your device connects to an unencrypted network or when a network records your unique device or SIM ID. I have this feature on the 10 Pro XL since day one, so I'm not sure if it's exclusive or not, but later in my future videos, I will keep you posted. And also the 2G network protection toggle is located under the same page. The second change is under the connected devices menu, then connection preferences, and the audio sharing feature is finally here with QPR1, which will allow you to stream or broadcast audio over Bluetooth using the Bluetooth Low Energy technology, which is something I talked about in detail in one of my previous videos that I'm gonna leave its link in the description below if you want to know more. Under notifications, I already covered the new notifications on lock screen menu in the lock screen chapter, but when you go to flash notifications, here you will see a new graphical representation, plus the preview button is much bigger. Moving to the sound and vibration page, you will see the redesigned sliders, which look much better. The audio will play on option is now located at the top, which is much easier to find. Then we have the vibration and haptics page, which also got the new design, but there isn't any new features here. But when it comes to the phone ringtone is now called ringtone alert. And when you open both, you will see a redesigned Pixel Sounds app. First, the list got replaced with a grid, which requires less scrolling. The top header got redesigned, and now we have a play button that immediately plays the currently selected ringtone, even though you can do the exact same thing on the previous version, but it doesn't give you any indication. And here, the new look of the ringtone list, as you see, it looks so much better now. And instead of using radio buttons, this is how you can select the ringtone. And you will notice here the redesigned save button as well. And on the newer version, when you quit the app without saving, it gives you a warning, which wasn't the case before. It's also worth noting that the Pixel 10 got some new sounds, but I'm not sure if they will make their way to the older models or not. Under Pixel Sounds, here you have the Next Adventure ringtone. And when you go to the notification sounds, which used to be called default notification sound, and then go to Pixel Sounds, there is a new one here called Kernel. And there is also a new one for the alarm. When you go to Pixel Sounds, you will see something called Fresh Morning. Moving to the display and touch menu, now the always on display has a dedicated toggle on the front page. And instead of going to the lock screen first and then go to always show time and info. Now the name makes a lot more sense. Plus, when you tap on it, on the Pixel 10 Pro XL, I got this new toggle that allows me to show my wallpaper on the always on display, which is something I already talked about, but I'm not sure if this feature will make its way to the previous models or not. Another thing I've only seen on my 10 Pro XL are the new screensavers, but I'm sure if Google will push them to the previous models or not, starting with the digital clock. Here's how it looks, and you can also customize it by choosing between 3 different layouts and the ability to choose between dark or light theme or set to auto. Then we have the Google Photos screensaver. It's similar to the one we already have, but as you see, this one will show more info at the bottom left corner. Then we have the analog screensaver. This is how it looks. You also get 3 different layouts and the ability to change the theme. And then we have this new Pixel Weather screensaver. It will animate the current weather condition and show you everything, and then the time is showing at the very bottom of the screen. And when you scroll all the way down, you will see a new menu here called Low Light Mode, and the description says low light clock will show when your environment is dark. What happens here when the environment is very dark, and instead of showing the actual screensaver, it will show a very basic digital clock, or you can simply choose to turn off the screen when it's too dark. And when you scroll all the way up, the when to show menu that used to be called when to start got some new changes as well. Now you can choose between while charging, while upfront and charging, and also you have a toggle here to restrict to wireless charging. Adaptive tone is another Pixel 10 feature that I'm not sure if it's gonna make its way to the older model, so stay tuned for my follow-up video and I will answer all these questions. Then we have some new changes under battery. First, this brand new indicator, and when you go to the battery saver settings and then expand adaptive battery, it used to be a toggle, while now it's a separate page with a tutorial. Back to the main battery settings, and let's go to the battery health menu. And here you will see a redesigned page as well. This is how the battery health looks. Then we have tips, and then we have the charging optimization. As you see here, this graphical representation at the top looks different, but both function exactly the same way. Moving to system and then software updates. Now you get access to your Google Play system update from here, and instead of going to security and privacy like before. Under developer options, now you have the ability to enable the new desktop mode by scrolling all the way down, and you will see something here called enable desktop experience, and the description says enable desktop windowing on secondary displays. And I talked about this feature in detail, so I'm gonna leave the video link in the description if you want to check it out. Under security and the privacy and then device unlock, now the face and fingerprint unlock are 2 separate menus. And when you go to the fingerprint option, now you have the ability to check enrolled fingerprints. So if you are not sure about these fingers, you can simply tap on the option, touch the sensor, and it will tell you which one is which. The digital well-being and the parental controls tab got a complete revamp, and as you see, it looks so much better now. Under accessibility and then magnification, we got a brand new toggle called Magnify Keyboard, and the description says zoom into the keyboard to see emojis and letters when using full screen magnification. With this toggle off, the magnification ignores the keyboard. And finally, when you scroll all the way down in settings, you will see this new menu called Device Health and Support. It consolidates all the features related to the device health under one place. You have here battery health, you have device temperature, we have the storage, software update, charging diagnostics, touch diagnostics, warranty, tips, and finally, contact support. So that's pretty much it for today. These are all the new features in September 2025 Pixel drop along with Material 3 Expressive. Please let me know in the comments what do you think about the new design. But for now, thanks so much for watching and see you in the next video.